Rivers have always carried more than water. They carry stories of life, of death, of mystery. Across the world, strange things happen in rivers. Earlier this year, a river in Buenos Aires turned bright red, shocking residents and scientists alike. Authorities said it was caused by an industrial dye leak, but to the people who saw it, it looked apocalyptic. It looked like something out of a Hollywood thriller, surreal, almost unreal. Picture standing by a river you've passed 100 times, only to see it running red. One resident, Maria Ducamol, said the river looked like a bloody stream, and that the incident was the latest in a series of similar episodes. You don't need to be an inspector to realise just how polluted the Port Sarandi Creek is, she told Agence France Presse. In the Middle East flows one of the oldest rivers known to humanity, the Euphrates. According to the book of Genesis, a single river once flowed out of the Garden of Eden and then divided into four: the Pishon, the Gihon, Tigris and the Euphrates. To this day, the Euphrates is one of the most ancient rivers on earth, long associated with the sacred and at times with the ominous. Then there's the Amazon River, a world unto itself. Its waters are home to electric eels, massive anacondas and even creatures science hasn't yet named. The further you travel into the river's depths, the more it feels like stepping back in time, a world the jungle has kept unchanged. Rivers define our civilizations, and sometimes they take them back. They nourish, they destroy, they reveal, and they conceal. And nowhere is that balance more fragile than in Australia. A land where rivers sparkle under the sun, calm and inviting on the surface, yet hiding something ancient beneath. It begins like a postcard. A clear blue sky, the hum of cicadas, the lazy curl of a river winding through North Queensland's tropical green. The Annan River, quiet, still, almost grass-like, a place where families come to fish, where locals cool off under the afternoon sun. But on one August day in 2024, that calm surface hid something ancient, something waiting. They were only meant to be there for a few hours. Dave Hogbin, 40 years old, and his wife had driven from their campsite to a family spot near Cooktown. They'd been there before, a place known for barramundi fishing. Locals say the crocs mostly stayed downstream near the estuary. The upper stretch felt safe and familiar. But the tropics are deceptive. The river can look motionless and yet be alive beneath. Dave set up his rod. The water shimmered in the light. He cast out, laughed, wiped sweat from his brow. His wife stood nearby watching the float drift lazily. Then the bank beneath him gave way. A section of muddy earth loosened by recent rains simply collapsed. In an instant, Dave was in the water, waist deep, then chest deep, thrashing to find his footing. That's when she saw it. A ripple, a shadow slicing the surface. A single second of silence before the water exploded. A 13-foot saltwater crocodile lunged, prehistoric, unstoppable. The splash was deafening. Dave shouted. A sound that cut through the trees, echoing once, twice, and then stopped. The river went silent again. His wife screamed his name, but he was gone. The search lasted for days. Police and wildlife officers combed the area by boat and helicopter. Rangers shot flares into the dense mangroves, but every time they looked down, the water looked the same. Brown, flat, silent. When they finally found the crocodile, they captured it, humanely euthanized it, and opened its stomach. Inside were human remains. The family released a statement later, heartbroken but grateful for the closure. They had said that Dave had been a strong swimmer, a careful man and devoted husband. He'd even shouted for his wife to run before the crocodile reached him. She lived because of him. The CBS News article of the event states, the family statement corrected police reports that Dave Hogbin had been fishing at the time he fell. He had been walking along a riverbank path, 16 feet above the river, when part of the bank gave way, according to his family. It caused Dave to fall down into the river below, and despite being tall, strong and fit, the conditions of the terrain meant Dave was unable to get himself out of the water, the statement said. His wife heard the splash when he fell and went to his aid, but due to the steepness and slipperiness of the bank, she was able to grab his arms, but soon began slipping into the river herself. Dave's final decisive act was to let go of Jane's arm when he realised she was falling in. Despite knowing that she was his only lifeline, within moments he was taken, the statement added. Jane Hogbin said that her husband's decision to release her saved her life. He saved me. His last act was not to pull me in with him. I'm glad I'm still here because it could have been a millionfold worse for everyone involved, not just the boys, she said. Family friend Alex Ward said a small consolation was that none of the 3 children saw the tragedy unfold. Ward, who started a GoFundMe for the family, wrote, "Dave's family and friends are completely broken, but we are so incredibly lucky to have had Dave in our lives." Dave Hogbin fell at a location known as Crocodile Bend, which is popular among tourists who come to see large crocodiles. Saltwater crocodiles are apex predators that have ruled northern Australia's rivers for millions of years. Males can grow up to 6 metres long, weighing more than a tonne. They don't chase their prey, they wait. Perfectly still, perfectly patient. To the untrained eye, they're invisible. A pair of eyes just above the surface, a shadow that looks like driftwood. They can lurch themselves forward out of the water with terrifying speed, nearly the entire length of their body, and drag down anything that ventures too close. People think of the ocean as dangerous, but in Australia, the river is where the real monsters lie. Every year, park rangers repeat the same warnings. Don't fish from the bank. Don't stand near the edge. Don't assume the absence of signs means it's safe. Now, let's move to a different river, hundreds of kilometres away. February 2023, Perth River, Western Australia. The afternoon was hot, the kind of heat that bakes the sand white. 16-year-old Stella, a bright student with a wide smile, had joined friends on a boating trip. They spent the morning skiing, laughing, taking photos. On the way back, they stopped near the shallows of the Swan River, a place locals sometimes wade to cool off. It was supposed to be safe. It wasn't the ocean. This was inland fresh water. Stella slipped into the river, laughing, splashing her friends. For a moment, she disappeared under the water and then came back up grinning. Then someone screamed. A dark fin cut through the surface. It wasn't a dolphin. It was a bull shark, one of the few shark species able to swim in both salt water and fresh water. They follow the currents up rivers, hunting fish, turtles, and sometimes anything that moves. The water churned red. Her friends shouted, diving in to pull her back, but it was too late. Authorities later confirmed what few wanted to believe. A bull shark, likely over 2 meters long, had attacked in broad daylight. Locals called it the first fatal shark attack in that part of the river in more than a century. Bull sharks are notorious. They've been found hundreds of kilometers upstream in rivers around the world, from the Mississippi to the Amazon. In Australia, they're regular visitors to the Brisbane River, the Swan River, and countless tropical waterways. Their secret weapon isn't speed or size, it's adaptability. They can survive in fresh or salt water, giving them access to roam areas that no one expects. The average person has no idea that some sharks don't just swim in the ocean. They travel deep into rivers. Before this story, I'll be honest, I had no idea sharks lived in rivers. Like most people, I thought they belonged only deep in the ocean, far away from calm freshwater currents and muddy banks. But that's not the case at all. There's a species known as the bull shark, and it's one of nature's most adaptable predators. Unlike other sharks, it has a unique biological trick. It can adjust salt levels in its own body. This allows it to move freely between oceans and rivers, surviving where almost no other shark can. They've been found thousands of kilometers inland, swimming up the Mississippi River in the US, the Amazon River in South America, and even in Australia's Brisbane and Clarence Rivers. Some have even been spotted near Sydney, far from the open sea. In Central America, they've even made it into Lake Nicaragua, a freshwater lake completely cut off from the ocean. Locals believe once it was home to a mysterious monster, until scientists discovered it was bull sharks travelling upriver through rapids and waterfalls to reach it. They are stealth incarnate. One moment the river looks harmless, the next thing it's hiding a hunter. In both these stories, the Annan and the Swan, there's a shared threat. The river looks still, calm and inviting, but still water can lie. There's an old saying in the Northern Territory, If you can't see the crocodile, it can see you. The same could be said of the bull shark. Locals know the signs. They know the currents, the tides, the seasons when the waters turn murky and the predators move in. They avoid the banks at dawn and dusk. They keep their distance. But visitors, tourists, travellers, even lifelong Australians from the cities often don't. But what's most unsettling is that even with all the warnings, people still take chances. Just ask anyone who stood at Cahill's Crossing deep in Kakadu National Park, Northern Australia. Sky News recently called it one of those only in Australia stories, the kind that sounds almost unbelievable until you see it. Cahill's Crossing sits on the East Alligator River, about 3 hours west of Darwin. It's famous for one thing: crocodiles. Dozens of them. Locals say during the change in tides you can see 30 to 50 massive saltwater crocs gathered in one place, waiting for fish to push through the current. Yet, despite the danger, tourists keep trying to cross the flooded causeway in their vehicles and sometimes even on foot. In the Sky News segment, David McMahon, a veteran tour guide, called out the reckless behaviour caught on camera. A ute nearly swept away families fishing with children just metres from the water. That little kid, he said, is the perfect size snack for a crocodile. There are signs everywhere. There's even a safe viewing platform above the river. Still, people ignore the warnings. McMahon reminded viewers that the crossing has seen fatalities before, including a horrific 1987 attack where a man was killed in front of tourists and his own son.
It's not to be messed with, though, is it? People have been killed there.
Yeah, there's been a couple of fatalities. One memorable in 1987, a fella had his head bitten off by a crocodile in front of his son and a heap of tourists. And that's the sort of thing that we're hoping never happens again.
He said the truth most people don't understand is this: crocodiles are perfect predators. They live in the water, we live on land. Just 2 or 3 metres back, that's all it takes to stay safe. But year after year, people step too close, and in the wild heart of Australia, that mistake can cost you everything. In the aftermath of the Annan River tragedy, authorities increased warning signs. Local rangers said they'd seen crocodiles that size in the area before, but even with signs, fences and warnings, people still go. The pull of nature is strong, stronger than fear. And yet, as both these stories show, nature is not gentle. It's not malicious either. It simply is. The crocodile did what crocodiles have always done. The shark did what sharks were made to do. It's not evil, it's instinct. But for those who venture too close, instinct is enough to end everything. If you visit Northern Australia, you'll see rivers like these everywhere. Green corridors cutting through red earth and rainforest. They're breathtaking and deadly. Some of them even have names that hint at their danger: Crocodile Creek, Death Adder Gorge. But others sound deceptively innocent: the Annan, the Daly, the Finesse, the Mary. Experts say attacks are rare, but rare doesn't mean impossible. Every few years another story surfaces, another headline, another reminder that in this land the wild still rules. People forget that Australia isn't tamed, not really. Its rivers, jungles and deserts still belong to something older than us. And when you step into the water, you step into their world. Make sure you like, comment and subscribe for more.